Everybody, Kyle had an appearance on the books for 6 months.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. I'm annoyed with Kyle. I'm annoyed with Dorit. I'm annoyed with Erica Jane. I should be more annoyed with Sutton. I am not annoyed at all with Garcelle. And I'm not annoyed with Bose. Who am I forgetting? Am I forgetting someone? Oh, and Jennifer Tilly, absolutely not. But I'm absolutely annoyed. I'm annoyed with 3/5 of the Fox Force 5. They can phosphorus fuck off. That was not okay.
That was okay. Oh my God. Yeah, this was just like being caught in a loop of just
Full
righteous
hip.
idiots. Yeah,
Yeah.
just everybody going full hip. Like occasionally one or two would have a good point and then they'd ruin it by going full hip. And I was like, you guys, I can't take it anymore. Stop whining. Stop. That's where Jennifer Tilly is such a blessing of a presence on the show when she was like last week on Crazy Boat Stories or whatever.
Oh my
I was like,
God,
thank you.
I know.
Because this is stupid.
It is stupid.
This is a stupid way to spend your energy when you're on a catamaran in St. Lucia. I'll take that vacation.
Me
you guys
too.
come fight in my house. I'll go
Me
take your
too.
vacation.
And you know what? If Avi wants to make me an espresso, which I'm sure is going to taste
I'm not going to
perfectly
like that.
fucking
I'm not going to like
fine.
that. I'm not going to like
Like-
that. Shut up.
Avi is there. Everybody's fucking there. Carol, the brand manager, isn't there. Thank God. That would be another. Oh, yeah. Kathy Hilton. Can we be done? I honestly, do I need to start a petition? She's so annoying.
She is so annoying. And my brain completely erased her from existence. You said her name and I was like, oh yeah, right. She was there. And by the way, with the amount of time her brand manager was on hold,
My
she could have
God.
taken a flight to St. Lucia and joined the vacation. That was
Honestly.
so rude.
I mean, at least we got to see her in those hideous white boots. Those
Ugh.
boots are bad. I love a white boot. I own a white boot. I actually want other pairs of white boots, but I restrained myself because how many pairs of white boots does one woman need? I guess it
Not-
depends on who you ask, but like her boots were so ugly.
Well, her style just it's nonsense. I don't understand I don't know. I guess I just can't understand anything about her as a person based on what she chooses to wear. She was in another like limited to sunflower dress on the catamaran. And I was like, what? You're so wealthy, but it looks like the last time you went shopping was 1987 at the Pasadena Plaza
Honestly,
Mall.
I don't understand. I don't understand. She is on my ADHD medicine is it's like later bitch, it's the end of the day. Sorry, should have done this earlier.
Clocked out right when
It
you clocked in.
Yes, thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Like the whistle
it is
rang or whatever.
no
God.
longer doing the heavy lifting. Yes, it fully Fred Flintstone the fuck out of here on a Friday, even though this is Wednesday night. What was I saying?
You
What
were
was I
saying
saying?
it was about Kathy Hilton, her style, perhaps. The last time she shopped was 1987. She's wearing white boots.
God, you know what? It probably wasn't that important. It probably was nothing. It wasn't anything kind. Who gives a shit what my opinion is, honestly? For real, though, like, why does my opinion need to even be out in the ethers? I don't know. It's not my business what Kathy Hilton wears. If she wants to look like a fool dressed like shit, via con Dios. Have at it, Kathy.
And she sure did. Every outfit was crazier than the last. Her hair is bonkers. Like, it's just like, again, just someone who has endless resources and makes
Yeah.
the strangest choices. So
And I
Sorry,
also
go ahead.
no, go ahead. You.
They always
You.
say nobody's ugly, just poor. But
Yeah,
I'm like, what do we do with Kathy Hilton? Like, she's making such choices that, like, she's one of the richest people on the planet. And in
honestly.
St. Lucia, no one's looked weirder in white go-go
Yeah.
boots and flat hair.
Oh, those
Anyways,
boots were so bad. Like the toe wasn't good, the heel wasn't good. Nothing about that boot had a redeeming quality except for the fact that it was white. That poor boot. That boot didn't ask for that.
it got to go to St. Lucia, though.
That boot
I
did get to
can't
go
get
to
over
St.
how
Lucia.
gorgeous St. Lucia is. Those,
It is
like,
beautiful.
yeah, the beauty shots of that place were like, whoa,
It's beautiful.
real pretty.
What do you think? Shall we get into this?
Let's do it.
I'm so annoyed that like I feel like I'm going to have a hard time accessing the parts of me. Let me see. How do I want to I'm going to have to spit it all out before I get to my point. I'm going to have to break this down in real time. The parts of me that know better, which I know better has its own connotations, like I'm judging myself, but I guess I should. There's healthy shame. Me talking mad shit about other people that I don't know. That's not, I mean, obviously it's what we do here, but it's not, it's not my higher self, other than in this arena. Am I rationalizing?
No.
What's my point? My point is that I feel extremely irritable, and I'm not suffering fools, of which there were copious amounts of in this episode. And I don't want to go on endless tirades. You know what? Here's how I can bring it back to therapy, Margie. I'm going to house guest this shit. I am going to the house guests by Rumi my mood right now. I'm going to invite them all in. The irritability guest showed up and it pulled up a chair like Gene Wilder in, that gif of him, like, what's he saying? I don't know, but he's looking at someone with his head on his fist like, tell me all about it. Yep, you ridiculous fool, you. Like, that is how my irritability is looking at me right now. It's just letting me rant. It's letting me feel irritable. And it's like, okay, you know what? You're sitting down with one of your best friends. You're about to talk about a show that you absolutely love, despite how crazy the people on it make you feel. This is going to be okay. Ooh, I just therapized myself.
Boom.
Didn't I?
Done and done.
In real time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night. Just kidding. This is season 14, episode 16 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's called Sutton on Trial at Sea. That's a little awkward to me. It's not poetic. It doesn't flow off the tongue. Sutton on Trial at Sea.
That's
It's
a
just
lot. Did Sutton write that
literally
title? Calm down.
what it is. And if I can take this back to the Scarlet Letter, if you will, where we talked about, the Crucible is where we talk about an actual witch hunt. Sutton has the kind of personality that isn't necessarily cool. She's, as wealthy as Jennifer Tilly, but doesn't always come off with the self-assuredness and aplomb and charm as Jennifer Tilly. Same with her outfits. Like, I think she's looked better than she's ever looked on any of her previous seasons on this particular season. But from the very first season that we saw her, was her first season, Crystal's first season as well, the infamous scene of Sutton taking care of her anxiety by using that roller on her face. Someone like Erica Jane either never acknowledges that she needs to like soothe herself with a roller on her face because she's so detached from her actual feelings. All she is ego wrapped in enigma and cash, or whatever the hell that saying is. Like, she's unchecked ego, Erica Jane is. Sutton is another kind of unchecked ego, but it's the kind that, like, if you're a wolf and you're sniffing out blood, you're going to go in for the kill on someone like Sutton Strack. Does that make sense? Her discomfort is outward, and people don't like that. People like Erica Jane don't like that. People like Kyle, it probably makes her real itchy given where she comes from. My point is that I feel like she has been the punching bag at more than anybody else in this cast since she's joined it. And again, I acknowledge I am going to bat for a woman that probably does not deserve this level of loyalty from me. But for some reason, she has it. I will absolutely look at that. I continue to look at that. But Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like she has been the butt of jokes and she has been judged and criticized more than other people on this cast because her personality type is less easy to deal with on a daily basis. Do you know what I'm saying? And so they sense the weakness and they go in on it. And I feel like they've done that since she started.
I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see people going in on her unprovoked. Like, I
Mm.
just feel like every situation, but this is one of those episodes where I was like, yeah, cool. Everyone's terrible. Everyone has like a moment of brightness and then everyone loses me completely. But I find Sutton completely unsympathetic. As far as
Yeah.
her rolling her face with Crystal, that was not the appropriate time to do that. She had offended Crystal by telling Crystal, Crystal said, was trying to explain to Sutton why saying I don't see color is offensive. Then Sutton walked in on her naked, an accident, but it bothered Crystal. And Sutton's reaction to a conversation about race and seeing someone completely naked is to distract herself with her face roller. That's just not the time for it. Like, be uncomfortable, be an adult and be uncomfortable and sit with the person who you offended physically and emotionally. I just like, I get it. Like, she is weird, but I don't find that like in context. I've not found that to forgive much. And in this episode too, it's just like she tries to lean in on semantics to avoid culpability. All women. Nobody said all
Yeah.
women. Oh, yes, you did. You said all women. No, no, no. Erica made a statement and said, I observe this as a pattern of behavior. And it's happened to me, Kyle, and now Dorit. And Sutton was like, so, but you said all women. That's what I heard. And it's like, okay, so you're not willing to have this conversation. You're going to dig in on a semantic so you can avoid having any responsibility in anything. To me, it's just like all defensive and annoying and drunk because she got dressed in vodka for the dinner party. And then she
Bruh.
behaved like an asshole at the dinner party. Surprise. It's just like, dude, and everybody's right. Like, her friends have said it. She's erratic. And her behavior toward Garcelle, her behavior toward Jennifer Tilly, cold shouldering her when she tried to comfort her. And then the next morning, Sutton gets up, yells at her assistant, I'm not going to like that. And then goes and like, I'm going to wake up Garcelle. Tee-hee-hee. It's like, you were so mean to her last night that she stormed off. And now you're going to tee-hee-hee your way into the morning. And this is just, again, my experience with every alcoholic in my life. They exhibit disgusting behavior and then tee-hee-hee their way back in. And because they're charming and wonderful, it works. I'm just exhausted by it because I've had too many cycles of it in my life. Garcelle is not because it's probably one of her first. And they are wonderful. I don't know. But I did not find Sutton sympathetic. She had a couple moments, but I also think Erica had some really salient points and made them well. You laughed at me.
No, I rolled my eyes so hard that I thought you could hear it.
Oh.
Hear them rolling until you said the part about Erica having moments. I was about to say, no further questions, Your Honor. And as a jury member, I was going to say, yep, guilty as charged. You're right. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I felt like Erica had 0.0 legs to stand on in this episode. I think she is woefully, willfully in denial, but like you have to have awareness to be in denial. She's bought her own bullshit.
Yeah,
so
she's
much
gross too.
Yes.
That was my whole issue with this episode. Is an issue would come up and they'd go, yeah, but you. And it's like, we need to land somewhere because you all are terrible. So when it comes to Sutton, and Erica said, I could hear her therapy coming through as she said, like, Sutton was like, I'm not going to have you tell me I'm the worst person in the world. And Erica was like, you can think whatever you want to about yourself. I'm telling you, I've observed a pattern of behavior. That's all I'm trying to say. And trust me, I'm not saying that absolves Erica of earrings or bullshit or anything that Sutton accused her of. I'm just saying, like, that's how a therapist would advise me to address such an issue. And then Sutton just went like, nuh-uh, yeah, but you. So it's like nobody's ever going to resolve anything. And I think that's why I'm just like fed up with all of them. Somebody like pull the plug out of the bottom of the boat and let it sink. I'm sick of it.
but like there was so much venom behind her words that it didn't matter how therapized what she was saying was. You know, it didn't matter in my opinion. That was my thing, is that her tone was so vicious that she could have easily said, yeah, but I said XYZ and that was the quote unquote right thing to say. But the way, like what was behind it was she was so, what's the word I'm looking for? She just has lack of fucking humility in spades, dude.
They all do that. They all share. And I think that's why no one can get anywhere, because everyone is just pride and hubris front and
Even
center.
Garcelle.
No, I felt bad for Garcelle
I
in
did
this
too.
episode. And I was
I did
actually proud
too.
of her at the end for being like, you know what, Sutton, you fucked me. And I'm just going to sit here now. I'm not going to fight in opposition to you, but I'm not going to help you anymore because it's just hurtful. It hurts me.
Man,
And that Sutton did that to herself.
She did that to herself. You're
In
absolutely
pursuit
right.
of Kyle.
I mean, talk about being sick.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I'm not sick, Sutton. You are.
But, you know.
Listen, I know I'm sick too.
I am too, obviously. There was just so much in this episode that like I couldn't handle. And honestly, like, fuck the editors for leaving this in. Maybe it's just the headspace I'm in when Erica asks Sutton how much she weighs. Are you under 100 now? I'm 110. And Erica goes, that's good. I go from 128 to 130. That's it. And I'm just like, this is so disgusting.
It was disgusting.
And then Dorit, 5 seconds later, is like, Kyle, your body's amazing. And I was like, can we fucking not?
Yeah.
Why did the editors leave this in? Like, but I guess that's reality TV. That is what women talk about. And maybe if I guess I'm just in a moment right now where I'm like, I don't want to hear praise for numbers. It makes me sick. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't know why. Fuck Erica for that. Fuck the editors for leaving it in. Fuck everyone. You can cut this part out. Sorry.
No, I'm not going to cut it out. I was just going to say, like, I know that there's a lot of discourse, which I understand why it's there. Like, why do we watch these shows if we're just going to like talk about how these people are terrible? It's like, listen, I love watching these shows, but they also push my buttons. And there's also behavior on it that I find to be extra vile on the spectrum of vile. I agree with you. The weight thing and it coming from Erica made it extra terrible.
And also just don't. When you have medical support, just don't. You know what I mean? Like you have access to shit that other people don't. And so it just is, I think that's maybe what bothered me on a whole other level of just like, would you have asked this question 2 years ago when you were going through the worst time in your life? We all remember that reunion look, you know, her little pink princess. She wasn't well. And now there's like all of this confidence and authority just because she named, you know, of the number that she fluctuates 2 pounds. That's it.
Right.
It's like, great. Congratulations. Right. You still married a crook and you still whine about living in a mansion and like, I don't know, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like you were saying, why do we watch these shows if all we do is bitch about them? But like as I get this upset, it's for me, you know, at one point in this episode, Bose asked Dorit, what do you want Sutton to do? How do you want Sutton to act? And I wrote in my notes, wherever that was, that's the wrong question. The question is, if Sutton never changes, how do you respond from here forward? And that's what I need to get over. If I'm getting this pissed off about women talking about their weight and bodies, like, get it over yourself, Margie. You live in LA. Come on. So, like, I need to revisit the more serene place where I can exist to not let it. I don't know why. I think it's because it was subtitled too. They just really forced those numbers down my throat. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was complete. That it didn't offer anything, but unless the editors were trying to like, we're going to try to make women feel like shit about themselves in the process of watching this episode.
It just felt so confronting, I guess. Anyways, it's my problem, but that's exactly my point. Is I watch these shows to learn where my spiky parts are starting to come out again. You know, they say it's like a game of whack-a-mole, like with recovery. It's true. Like some things heal for a time and then they start to little seedlings start planting and they reemerge. And then I just have to weed the garden. So I got a good look at some stuff that I haven't had to look at in this episode. And time to weed that garden.
Rumi, if you're out there listening somewhere in the ethers, or if you are in an astral plane but happen to come across this podcast, wherever you are, A, fuck yeah, I'm stoked that you're listening. B, look what we can do with your house guest poem. We are welcoming in these house guests wrapped in discomfort, and we're like, all right, what are you here to sweep out for us via the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Rumi, Beverly Hills. It can happen. It can be in the same sentence.
The Real House Guests of Beverly Hills.
Oh my God, Margie. First step, come up with that concept. Second step, profit. I would like to see that show.
Oh, man.
Anywho, we are back in St. Lucia. We've got some getting ready montages. Kathy's being wacky in quotation marks. Get her off my fucking screen. Jennifer Tilly comes out of her room to show Sutton what she's wearing to dinner. Sutton responds with, I'm wearing vodka tonight. Ruby red, as in the grapefruit drink, in quotations, is my favorite color. Holy shit. Just right out of the gate. Okay. Bose has intentions for this trip to be peaceful and fun. I think we call this foreshadowing.
I love her assistant. Nico immediately corrects her and he goes, oh, we go on different girls' trips then. Mine are never peaceful and fun. I was like, oh, Nico, hooray. And then Dorit and Erica take photos and videos. And then Kyle and Garcelle show up at the room in the same strapless ostrich feather dress situation.
Yeah.
And they also both had like their hair done stick straight. So it was really a twinning moment. It really was.
Garcelle mea culpas because in the past she has called Kyle's fashion hideous, as have I. I have more of an issue with Kyle's tendrils that she can't let go of than her clothes at times. But Garcelle mea culpas for it. So there. They go to dinner. Garcelle orders a Greek salad, but says, hold the feta. Excuse me, that is what makes a Greek salad. Well, listen, I'm not Greek, so I can't say for sure, but isn't it like a major component of being a Greek salad?
It's like why I order it.
Same here.
It seems like the best part of it. But before that, Dorit orders watermelon carpaccio.
Yes.
Like everybody go to hell. You know what watermelon carpaccio is? Watermelon. Fucking stop, please.
Oh, my God.
What is the preparation that makes watermelon carpaccio? Do they shave it? Like, what is the
I don't know. It's
what is
probably
that?
it's gimmicky. I'm
God,
not sure.
I really hear the bad mood I'm in. I'm sorry. It's infecting everything.
You know what? Maybe, is there something going on psychically?
Cosmically?
Yes, thank you, cosmically, because I'm irritated AF as well. But
there's retrograde and all that shit.
And there's also a lot of bullshit happening globally and in the country to make us this itchy. So
I am on a news blackout, so I am blissfully unaware for the time being because it is not healthy for me to consume that content right now.
I support that. In
the same way that Kyle, it's not healthy, I guess, for her to eat mashed potatoes because she asked them to be left off her plate. I don't know.
Because they're taking thirst traps later.
Settle down, everyone. Enjoy St. Lucia.
I know. See, so I avoided being full hip. The night before I got married, as you know, we had that little fete at me and Josh's, one of our favorite restaurants in San Diego. And my sister was like so excited. And she's like, Ramona, have a drink with me. And I was all, no, Dominga, I am not. And she was so bummed out. I'm like, dude, I am 42. If I have a drink right now, I'm going to look like shit tomorrow. Like, I don't wear alcohol on my face like I did in my 20s and 30s. And she was not happy. And I guess my wedding probably is a little bit more important than a thirst trap in St. Lucia. But I just wanted to say, like, I was aware in the moment when I watched this scene that I am not immune to not wanting to consume something because of a later engagement.
Look, If Kyle had a photo shoot for Vogue the next day, I would be like, absolutely, of course. If I wouldn't even drink water if I had a photo shoot. You know what I mean? But to take thirst traps, like just and as if they don't all use Facetune and BodyTune, like get over yourselves, guys. Come on.
Very good point. Very good point. Then Bose brings up outdoor shower gate. Her villa has an outdoor shower, and she invites Dorit and Erica Jane to use it if they like. And Dorit tells Bose she doesn't like to walk around naked, not even in front of her husband. Now, to be fair, I don't want to fucking walk around naked in front of PK either. But Bose is like, what? Because her ideal relationship is one where she can walk around naked, metaphorically, as in being vulnerable, and literally, as in being naked and being comfortable in front of her partner. And same, Bose, same.
Yeah, she said it's the whole point of intimacy. And I think that's really true.
Sage. Yes, absolutely.
But
Ideally,
I related to Jennifer Tilly's story of that place, like somewhere in between.
Yes.
Where it's not like you're never willing to be naked, but you'd like it to be lit right and posed well, you know?
Yeah.
And so she talked about how she did full frontal in this Broadway play she was in. And she just made a real quick, like weird aside about English people. She's like, my boyfriend was English. You know how uptight the English are. I was like, oh boy. But I guess she lied to this boyfriend and said she was wearing bubbles in that scene. And he was shocked when he saw them slide off her body and reveal her naked. And she said he had never seen her standing naked because she'd always gone into the bedroom, posed herself, and then called him in for an encounter. And she also admitted to getting up at 5 a.m. to put on makeup and brush her teeth so he would think she woke up like that. And I feel like I've certainly had relationships where I tried to, once you get past the year mark, it's over. But like certainly in the beginning of some relationships, I sure didn't give that a try.
I don't think I ever went to the point where I put on makeup before anyone else next to me woke up. However, I could fully relate to like arranging myself in a way that was my idea of the most flattering when, again, everyone knows what you look like, even if you're wearing clothes. Like, but B, again, I think I talked about this last week, the fact that Jennifer Tilly, again, someone who I perceive to be a certain way, shares the same insecurities that I have felt, it just speaks more to like fucking capitalism, white supremacy, and the patriarchy, man. You know?
I mean, I'm not sure all of my insecurities were born of that. They were certainly supported by that. Because some of these boyfriends, like I dated hippies. They didn't give a shit. Why was I like getting up at 5 a.m. to brush my teeth when they were like, anyways, it's something to think about. Sutton and Kyle talk about negative ions in the atmosphere affecting their hair. And Garcelle looks infinitely pissed at the two of them talking and bonding and talk about foreshadowing. Oh, Lord.
Totally.
And then we get to the heat in the scene where Dorit confronts Sutton, saying that she's been mean-spirited toward her. And in this moment, Sutton had me, where she said, we've all had times when we've failed each other, so we're not going to put this all on me. And I was like, that's fair. And then Dorit reminds us that Sutton made them take a sisterhood oath, and then mere hours later turns on Dorit. It just is. And I was like, yeah, this is all. It's Sutton making rules that apply to thee and not to me,
I agree, but I also think that Dorit was rewriting history a little bit as if her shit does not stink. And I
think I think everyone.
You're right. There's no winners at this table.
No, and I don't think Dorit is in the right. Yeah, I'm team nobody, and that's a horrible place to be in a fight that lasts an entire episode. Dorit says to Sutton that rather than trying to work it out, you want to go lower. You wanted to have an issue. And I think there's some truth to that. The way she entered Dorit's barbecue and said she was left standing alone when there was a whole party 4 steps away from her. She could have called, or I don't know. It's just like everybody is. Ugh. And then Jennifer Tilly says that Sutton meant it in the moment, which I just think is the most damaging defense ever. Because as Erica Jane says, her therapy coming through, Erica said she means what she says every time. So it's that thing of like, you either have to believe all of it or you have to believe none of it. And my therapist has advised me with people that erratic to believe none of it. You can't believe anything good they tell you And you also cannot believe anything bad they say about you. If their opinion changes so wildly and the pendulum swings so quickly, they're not in a place to make any kind of judgment. And I'm not in a place to receive any real information from them. What do you think? You disagree?
No, I don't at all, actually. I was thinking, yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I did have a flash, though, that I feel, again, and these women do nothing but project their own bullshit onto their castmates. Like, for Erica to say, sure, she means it, but what she says every time when she says it, but then it gets confusing. It's like when we see the flashback later on in the episode where Erica is saying sorry to Sutton, but I don't ever believe it because Sutton only has to make the tiniest of flubs for Erica to be like, yep, I'm going to add that to my basket of proof about why Sutton is a piece of shit, a this and a that. And I feel like Erica does the same thing to an extent, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think she probably has in the past. This is Sutton's season to be center stage with this behavior, and it's really hard to, I don't know. I just don't think anything she did at that caviar thing was a small offense. It was so mean. She doubled down every time she was given an opportunity. The room gasped. She didn't care. She wanted to hurt Dorit, and she just kept fucking curb stomping her.
I know.
You know? And then
I
she's
wish
like, yeah. And even her apology, the language is like, "Yeah, okay. All right, we'll see." And then Sutton gets all shitty and dramatic, and she's like, "We're not going to beat me with a stick." And Erica was like, "Oh God, nobody's beating with you a stick." And Dorit tells Sutton, "You can't turn around and play the victim every time." And I was like, uh-oh, everybody's a mirror. And
exactly.
But it's true for Sutton. It's not like nobody's not right. She's done it a million times. That magic might outburst is like one of many. And then Dorit says, every time there's a chance to take responsibility, Sutton, you just cannot make yourself a victim. And then Dorit goes on to say, I'm an adult. I take accountability when I make a mistake.
I nearly lost my fucking mind when she said that. Thank God Garcelle came in and was like, dude, she's taken accountability maybe all of 3 minutes, and now all of a sudden she's the accountability guru. Garcelle would know. Garcelle would know. Dorit is full hip.
I mean, I think Garcelle is right that she's only been taking accountability for 2 minutes, but she has been taking accountability.
I've thought about it. I don't think that accountability that she took with Garcelle I don't think it was sincere. I don't think it was authentic. I think it was damage control, and I think it was trying to rally troops around her to get support as she navigates this bullshit she has with Kyle.
Well, that may very well be true because that's what she accuses Sutton of, and I think both of them are doing the same thing if that's the case. Like,
God,
I don't think Sutton's sincere, and I think she's also doing it to win Kyle's favor, and it's very strange, the dynamic.
Kyle over Kyle Richards, of all people.
What a weird...
Everyone needs therapy, right?
I know. So Dorit says that Sutton has taken no opportunity to rectify their little mishaps. And then suddenly Sutton for a second settles down and just tells the truth and says she's been thinking about her comment. And I was like, comments at the caviar party. And this is her apology. She says, I said something that didn't feel like myself at all. I sincerely apologize. Good. It was a bad thing to say. Good. It was beneath me. Uh-oh, we're getting away from responsibility. And it was hurtful. Good. And then she closes it by saying, I said it to be hurtful and I'm really sorry. And I was like, all right. But Dorit is like, I appreciate the apology, but essentially she's like, it's coming in too late and it's passive aggressive, so forget about it. And suddenly, immediately fires right back. You know, in her confessional, she says, if you would just shut up, Dorit, you would hear me apologize for calling you broke. And I was like, oh, come on, dude. So nobody's sorry, like you said. Everybody's just trying to save face. Nobody gives a shit about anybody's feelings or anything. They're just doing everything for Kyle Richards' benefit, I guess.
I mean, Dorit saying you're passive aggressive, that made me really mad. Dorit was passive aggressive when she made the comment to Sutton at her 4th of July party, like, oh, Garcelle, are you asking if Sutton has alcohol in her drink? Like, that's super passive-aggressive. She's passive-aggressive with PK. I know from my own experience and from other Al-Anon's experience that being passive-aggressive is part of the way the disease of alcoholism manifests in the Al-Anon's behavior. I guess there's technically not anything wrong with Dorit saying to Sutton, you're passive-aggressive. If she had followed it up with, and I can be as well, I would have been like, okay, I buy that, but she didn't. So,
I mean, she kind of got there eventually. Like the way I was impressed with Sutton's apology here, I was impressed with Dorit saying, I was thrown off by the word bitch. And had you not said that, I would have apologized right in the moment. You don't believe it? All
no
right.
way. Not for a minute. Not for a second. In no world do I believe that she would have said sorry for that. She had venom in her tone when she said that. She was just as much out to hurt Sutton with that comment as Sutton was when she called her pourrite, which, if she had used the word you're a grifter,
But she didn't.
I know she didn't.
So that's the thing. And
I
again,
think that's
she
what she
doubled,
meant.
tripled, quadrupled. That's
Not what she
fine.
meant to say?
No, because she was given the opportunity when people were like, that's mean. And she was like,
Okay.
my wallet's bigger than yours. She didn't say grifter. She said,
You're
I'm
right.
rich and you're poor. And that
You're
makes you
right.
less than me. And I
You're
hate
right.
that attitude. So
It is. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Okay, I agree. I did appreciate that the whole group, like Sutton gives her the apology, and Dorit, instead of taking it, gives her this passive-aggressive comment. And the whole group is like, Dorit, she is apologizing.
led
Like, she
by
is.
Bose, which I
Even
really
Bose, yeah.
led
which
by
is,
Bose, which I
yes.
appreciated, that she was literally getting notably frustrated, saying like, you're not even accepting the apology. Like,
Yeah.
you're allowed to have your grievances, but we have to close this moment first. But I just think Dorit is so riddled with resentments that she can't hear or accept an apology because she's in so much rage and so much righteousness. And I only say that because I've been in that spot where I'm right and you fucked me.
Yeah.
And so you can say whatever
Yeah.
the fuck you want, but I know I'm right and I know how shitty you've treated me. And so go ahead, say your
Yeah.
bullshit. But instead of Dorit just saying like, I'm not in a place to receive an apology, she I don't know. It's a mess. It's just a mess. And then Erica makes it about herself again, and she says, I don't blame Dorit for thinking Sutton's apology is not genuine, because basically Sutton creates wreckage, apologizes for her bad behavior, and then everyone in the group is wondering which is true, the low blow or the apology. I don't think Erica's wrong in noticing that pattern. Minute to minute, Sutton is like, I want to help you through your divorce, Dorit, if it comes to that. You're unstable. You hate your life. You don't hate me. You hate your life. You're sad. You're poor. You're lame. It's just like, oh my God. It is hard to get a grasp on Sutton. But I guess your face tells me you think that moment was provoked or something. Like
it's because I feel like Erica does the same thing.
They all do. Trust me,
And
anytime
so-
I mention any of this, like, it's not because the person saying it is in the right. That's what was so frustrating to me about this episode. It's
Okay.
like, a villain is saying something correct about another villain. And so I'm just like, this asshole who stole money from widows and burn victims is right about her assessment of this asshole who
said pourrite, who called her pourrite.
over and over and over and over
Right.
and over again.
Okay,
And continues in this episode. So
Yeah, Bose tries to mediate and asks Dorit, hey, is there anything that you should be apologizing for, Dorit? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, but in a loving way. And then again, we roll tape to Dorit being passive aggressive at her 4th of July party. And Dorit says, dude, she said, the drink comment was a joke. It wasn't meant to hurt you. Bull fucking shit. I don't believe that for a minute. That was not a joke. That was a passive aggressive dig. And she doubles down and says, wholeheartedly, it was not to start anything or to hurt you. And if you hadn't called me a bitch, I would have apologized. And I thought, okay, A, ideally, we don't give conditional apologies. And B, no fucking way. I don't believe it even a little teeny tiny bit. I don't believe it a millimeter.
See, I found this exchange like the most hopeful of the whole thing, weirdly. And Sutton, her MO is starting to reveal itself here. Bo says, is there something you can apologize for? And Dorit says, the joke about the drink. And Sutton goes, joke. And Dorit goes, comment about the drink. And then she says, and I did believe her, she said, it was not meant to start anything or hurt you, and I'm sorry that it did. And then she said, had you not called me a bitch, I agree. A conditional apology is not great, but I thought Sutton handled it beautifully and said, I could have handled it better. And in that moment, I was like, cool. Two villains noted where they fucked up. And I was like, that's great. And then Kathy chimes in, and I was like, Kathy, clomp away in your white boots and
oh my God,
put some more blush on your lips.
Go ignore Carol's call. We're both ready to like tell her what she should go do. Bose is pleased with this exchange, and she said it's a good start. And then Kyle, ever the fucking opportunist, takes that moment to thank Bose in front of her castmates, in front of the whole table, for coming over to her house to support her after the picture with Mo and the young lady at the Mykonos airport came out.
In fairness, Bose set her up for that. She said, because Bose said, you guys have made progress, Sutton and Dorit, and she's like, and I feel like you and I, Kyle, have made progress too.
I missed that. Probably willfully, I missed that.
No, it's fair, because you're right. Kyle took that as like a full 11 o'clock number in a musical on Broadway to be like, yes, you came to my house and you sent me a text and blah, blah, blah. But Bose is under her spell too. Because she's like, I vowed after that day that I would do anything to help Kyle. And oh my God, he answered my prayers when I sat across from Mo and his girlfriend at Soho House. And I texted Kyle immediately and I sent her a 3-minute voice memo. And I was really disappointed in this moment where she basically just called this girl ugly. And I was like, and she's like, I'm a girl's girl. I'm like, you're absolutely fucking not. Because that's someone's daughter. That's Lael. You know what I mean? I've been the person who's dated the divorcee, and I know what all his ex and all of her friends are saying, and it's so painful. I didn't choose this. I didn't break up your fucking family. Don't do that. He's separated. Don't call her ugly. I just thought that was so unnecessary, and it really freaks me out about like Kyle's witchcraft. Like Bose is an independent, free thinker, and here she is sucking on Kyle's raw asshole in front of all of us. That's what it felt like. I was really shocked.
No, I wasn't saying that about like sucking on her raw asshole. It was more like whose raw asshole she was sucking on. Like,
exactly.
Kyle Richards. Yes. And then Kathy Hilton comes in with her wisdom and she's like, well, that's a girlfriend. That's a girlfriend that Mo is with. I don't give a shit. Kyle is with Morgan. Kyle has been with Morgan. Kyle will be with Morgan.
And God bless Garcelle for going right at it. Garcelle says, we all have your back, Kyle, and we want to fight for her. But she's confused by who Morgan is to Kyle. Because if Kyle also has a girlfriend, then there is no need for all of them to expend their time and energy bolstering Kyle's ego to get her over Mauricio and feeling up for dating again. Again, last year, as the editors so kindly edited in at a certain point, we saw this, whether it was a sexual relationship or not, it's a relationship. Like, these are two people who spend all of their time together, travel together, like.
Also, to bring up a term that I learned in SLA that, like, knocked the wind out of me when I heard it because I had never understood what the behavior that I was doing was. They were intriguing. Kyle was intriguing when she made that video with Morgan where they're like about to like make out, but their lips don't quite touch. It's like they were giving people something to talk about in her, low-key wannabe bondage outfit. So Kyle, she doesn't have a leg to stand on in this argument. She did things, I would say, that were more, what do I want to say it? Like, okay, so Mo's getting a hug at the airport and Mo's going to dinner. Kyle is tattooing her initial onto someone's forearm.
On camera for a show.
On camera. And then she's making a video, which is extremely sexual in nature. And then she's having Morgan come sing a song about laying her out on the fucking kitchen floor at her friend's memorial. Listen, grieve however you need to grieve, but is that supposed to be worse than us watching Mauricio getting, putting Instagram thirst traps on the ski slopes with Instagram models? Like,
It's not
what are
even
we
like
doing here?
it's not even if it's better or worse, it's that like it cannot be talked about suddenly.
God.
Like it's such a strange rule to put in effect after you added this woman to the cast last year. It's just I'm with Garcelle. It is such a head spinning like what are you doing? This
What are
is
you
insane.
doing? What are you doing?
And Garcelle just says like we don't know what that situation is. And then Erica I just didn't care for this at
Jesus
all.
Christ.
She has a confessional where she says Garcelle wants information about Kyle's life, but basically who's Garcelle fucking? And I was just like, and she's like, she had quite a celebrity-filled roster back in the 90s.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
she did. She did. Erica, you're fucking jealous. I mean, listen, I'm not down with fucking current day Johnny Depp or last 10, 15 years Johnny Depp before we all learned what a piece of utter criminal shit he is. But back in the day, he was certainly better than the choice you made by marrying Tom Girardi. But B, most importantly, Erica, Garcelle isn't, doing pap walks all over the fucking 310/818 area code. And again, just like they were saying to Kyle that Mauricio isn't Brad Pitt, fucking Kyle Richards isn't Taylor Swift, or like Garcelle later said, Julia Roberts. No one is out to pap Kyle without Kyle telling them where she's going to fucking be. So, Erica, shut up, contain your jealousy, talk about it, work it out with Dr. Jen. Garcelle isn't doing what Kyle's doing. I would not be surprised. Like, I can see Garcelle authentically and genuinely walking that line, that balanced line between dating someone that she's really into and telling her friends about it, like if she has a picture taken, and not making it a big deal and not making it like, oh, I need to be private about it. I feel like she'll handle that really well. But Erica's wrong.
Well, part of me just doesn't think Garcelle's necessarily withholding much of anything. Like she's still raising 2 kids and she just did a whole beach house renovation. Like I'm
She
sure
has real shit going on, making movies, producing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
I'm just saying she has a lot more going on professionally and personally than Erica has. She has her remodel with Martin Lawrence Ballard going on. But she doesn't have paying back, Marco going on. She doesn't have selling her earrings to cover the burn victims, widows, and orphans bills going on.
She's not boning Army Hammer.
Oh, God. Ew.
Or maybe she is, and it just isn't like it isn't front of mind for anyone. So if it's not that important to Garcelle or anyone else, I'm sure, I guess my point is if someone asked Garcelle explicitly, she would probably tell them, but like it's just not front of mind for her. And also I think it's respectful of her teenage sons to maybe not parade that part of her life around just yet. Erica Jane's son is like 40 or something. You know what I mean? He's like fully grown, so it wouldn't be embarrassing or weird. But if I'm Garcelle and I have teenage sons, I'd be like, I'm going to zip it on that part of my life.
Was it Garcelle that said, okay, but you were at the concert? Kyle says probably the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard on the history of this entire fucking show. Well, the concert was an appearance that I'd had on the books for 6 months. I'm sorry. An appearance at Morgan Wade's concert in a satin blue and black bustier. She had an appearance. Everybody, Kyle had an appearance on the books for 6 months. Excuse me. I had a very important appearance on my schedule for 6 months. I had to fulfill that appearance commitment. I need to take a sip of my tea and calm the fuck down. She's not worth me getting this riled up. I just think she sounds ridiculous. Like, does she hear herself? She takes herself so seriously.
But as Garcelle falls victim to, everyone at that table takes up for her. So I think I would start to feel crazy too. Garcelle's mood made a whole lot of sense to me at the end of this dinner. Because I agree with you. Everything Kyle's saying is insane, claiming that everywhere she goes, she can't help it. The paparazzi are staked out at the gas station to see Kyle Richards fill up her fucking car.
God.
And
God.
Dorit, Garcelle, and Jennifer Tilly all have back-to-back confessionals where basically they say somehow A-listers go about their daily lives with no paparazzi, but everyone is so thirsty for a Kyle Richards pic that they just won't let up on her,
Bruh.
please. And then Kyle says this weird cryptic shit where she's like, maybe one day I'll have a great story to share. And then Sutton, in this like ultra sincere voice that made me want to kick her shins under the table, goes, I hope you do. I hope you have a great story to tell. And Garcelle hates it. Like her posture is that of like a 13-year-old pissed off daughter, you know? And I don't blame her. She says in her confessional she's frustrated by Sutton's infatuation with Kyle. That's the right word. But she says it's only a problem when it affects Garcelle's relationship with Sutton. And that is happening right now because Garcelle said, I needed her tonight. I wanted her to have my back, but she was blinded by Kyle's light. And now I look like the bad guy when I was bringing up topics that we've discussed on camera numerous times. But because,
After this trip that we've seen, this incredibly, one of the more emotional things we've ever seen in the history of all of these franchises, especially in the history of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which has, some moments that are very dark in its history. Garcelle shows up in a beautiful, supportive, loving way when they go to Augusta. Whereas Kyle's like, oh, are we not going to go in the house then? Are you changing your mind? She's like a little begging dog. It's terrible. Poor Garcelle.
Yeah. Then post-dinner, we check in with Erica, Bose, and Dorit. And Dorit is starting to reflect on her conversation with Sutton. And Bose interrupts her, just totally grossed out by white women taking out clip-in hair tracks and throwing them on pieces of furniture. And
As am I.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah.
She made a whole production of it too. And Kathy Hilton doing it at that party, I was like, oh my God.
Disgusting.
You are trash. So Bose said that she saw Sutton being sincerely sorry. And then she saw Dorit respond, I accept it, but, and then you railroaded her. And Dorit in her confessional says she thinks Bose wants to believe the best in people, which is a great quality in her. And I think Dorit gets this part right. Sutton isn't sorry about the wallet comment. She's worried about how it made her look and is trying to do damage control for her image, not for a friendship with Dorit. And I think, like you said, it's true on both sides. I don't think Dorit really gives a shit about Sutton either. I think she wants to look good and gain favor. And I think that's why they'll never make up because, they don't really care.
She says it because she's projecting. She knows that's exactly what she did to Garcelle at that wellness day at Bose's house. I'll take it to my grave. Dorit's trying to save face, too. She's a sandcastle. She's made of straw. Nope, don't believe her at all.
I mean, she at least did that in private.
On camera.
True.
Years after. On camera.
No, I know. Dorit approached Garcelle. Dorit had to bring up to Sutton, there's a problem. Then Sutton's defensive for an hour, and then she makes some kind of apology. And I guess I get prickly about, it was 2 years later, but, is that too late? Then do you just not get to apologize if you ever realize you're sorry? I guess that's what I like about 12-step programs is that you get to go back through your life and make amends. People fuck up big all the time, but you just don't believe her, is that?
I think the timing is pretty suspect, Margie.
Okay.
I think if Dorit wasn't going through this stuff with her husband and struggling with her other castmates because she doesn't have the backup of Kyle, that is why I don't believe her. If everything in her life was, as Kathy Hilton says, hunky-dory, and then she wants to make amends to Garcelle, A, I still think it's shitty that she did it on camera, but B, I might be able to. It's too convenient. I think she had ulterior motives.
I get that.
Impure ulterior motives. That's why.
That makes sense.
I don't trust her.
So Bose continues saying to Dorit that acknowledging the apology is important and that Dorit appears to be challenged in both giving and receiving apologies. And then Bose, this is the moment where she asks the question, what do you need Sutton to do? And this is where I was like, that it cannot be the question because it just has to be if no one or nothing else ever changes, how do you change? And Bose calls out Dorit saying it's not solving any problems to wait and see. You're just sweeping it under the rug. And Dorit says maybe there is not a solution. And I was like, yeah, I think that's it. And I don't think either of them want a solution. I don't think they like each other enough to fight this hard to actually get to a friendship place. So
I agree. I can see that. They're both making sucky choices, and I don't want to be friends with them in real life. So then we go to Sutton, Garcelle, and Jennifer Tilly's villa where they're postmorteming the night. And Sutton says, I'm not going to apologize again. And she makes a note of saying that she really appreciates that Kyle stepped up for her tonight in her defense against Dorit.
I mean, she came
And
to life when she said that. She turned her body, straightened her posture. I do want to note, Kyle did step up for me. I was like, oh my God.
And then in her
The bar is
confessional,
so low.
where she's wearing a dress that I finally identified what the pattern on it looks like. She looks like she's wearing a dress made out of a freshly griddled flour tortilla.
Yes.
That's what it looks like. Leo, one of the Christmas gifts he asked for is he wanted a blanket that looked like a flour tortilla.
Yes,
It's a
you can
flour
wrap
tortilla
yourself up and
blanket.
be a burrito.
Yes, he can be a burrito. So he got that, and I was looking at her dress. I'm like, I'm like, oh my God, it looks like Leo's flour tortilla blanket. In her confessional, this grown woman, who is just a few years, if that, older than I am, says, Kyle's stepping up for me. See, I knew we were friends. I knew it. And now everybody does too. What? What? This? This? This is what's going to make you look like a child on Christmas morning? This is what it's going to take, Sutton?
At the expense of Garcelle.
Gross.
Yeah.
Right? Is Kyle her mommy? Is Kyle her mommy?
Kyle seems to be everyone's mommy. She's got everyone except Garcelle. It's shocking.
Good God, man.
Garcelle questions Sutton further about Kyle protecting Morgan, and Sutton claims it's unfair to demand that Kyle reveal everything right now. And Garcelle is like, dude, you were leading that charge last year, and we get a series of flashbacks.
Roll tape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then Garcelle is like, and now all of a sudden you have a blindfold on and you're basically doing her bidding. And Sutton said that she questioned Kyle last year because of these like rapid, dramatic changes happening in her life. And now she feels like it's nobody's business. And Garcelle, in a very familiar tone of dead inside resignation, just goes,
Yes.
okay,
Yep.
okay. And Sutton rolls her eyes and goes, what do you want from me? And Garcelle goes, nothing. I'm going to bed. Then she trips. She hits her leg on like a cabinet or something. It was so heartbreaking. She trips and hurts herself. And then Garcelle says she's pissed because for some reason you're protecting Kyle and your loyalty at this point is just beyond. And Sutton says, well, that's her life. I'm not going to babysit a grown woman. And Garcelle just goes, cool, and walks off to her room. And then lets us know in a confessional that she and Sutton have talked at length about this Kyle Morgan situation a bunch. So for Sutton to totally change her approach is very confusing and frustrating.
And now when I need her, you're not here for me. Like I was for you in the most critical of scenarios in Augusta. You couldn't have asked for a more supportive friend than Garcelle was for her.
Garcelle facilitated that conversation with Sutton's mom. Yeah, this is just inexcusable.
Oh my God, inexcusable.
And if that's not an alcoholic,
dude.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They tell you they love
yeah.
you. Occasionally they show it.
Oh.
And then when push comes to shove and there's something they want more, they go for that at your expense. And then they look at you like you're being an asshole. The way she talked down to Garcelle of like, what do you want me to do? It's like, oh, so I'm crazy now. Okay, cool. And then Jennifer Tilly tries to comfort Sutton and she shakes her off. And she's like, I'm going to take some time to myself. And Jennifer Tilly looks spooked and gets up and walks away, indicating this has happened before. And she knows if you push, you probably get some shit.
Oh my God.
And you know, if Kyle had been in there and comforted Sutton, she would have leaned right the fuck in.
She would have put her head on her shoulder.
Yeah. But these
Oh
two
my
women who
God.
actually give a shit about Sutton, Garcelle, she offends, and Jennifer Tilly, she smacks off like she's a gnat. It was so
Dude,
gross.
you're right. She did full alcoholic, and I can't believe I had to have you spell it out for me right now.
I mean, it's subtle, but like I'm just so clued into Sutton in particular that I'm just like, yeah, she found something she wanted more. And it's not her fault. If she really is an alcoholic, then it's a disease and they cannot help themselves without significant help addressing that problem. And that's the Al-Anon's issue is we keep signing up for that treatment.
Oh,
And Garcelle
God.
came right back for more the next day, because you fall in love with them,
Oh,
it's tough.
the sound you're hearing is my heart sinking into the ground. You're right. You're right, dude. You're right. I forget. It's a disease of amnesia? Is that part of being an Al-Anon? Is the amnesia? Is that where I heard it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they say, you can't stay clean on yesterday's shower. It's a
My
24-hour cycle
God.
that you get a reprieve from whatever you're plagued by. Yeah.
Jeez. Thank God. Let's put this night to bed. The next morning, after Sutton scolds Avi, first of all, he called for coffee an hour ago. For some reason, it's taken a while to get there. Fine. And he offers to okay, well, let me solve the situation for you by making you an espresso. I always appreciate it when a hotel has an espresso machine versus a Keurig because I find the taste of an espresso pod to be far superior to a Keurig. No shade if you like Keurig. I'm just saying about my personal taste. Absolutely. I would be pumped. If I wanted coffee and my assistant, who I brought with me to St. Lucia to do my bidding as I'm on a tropical vacation, offered to make me an espresso, I would probably put my hands on his shoulders and go, oh my God, Avi, I would love that. Thank you so much. But not Sutton. No gratitude in her voice. I'm not going to like that. I'm not going to like that.
And what a difference when Garcelle gets up and says, Good
Mhm.
morning, Avi.
Yeah.
That was her first
Yeah.
thought. And Sutton's first thought is not good morning. It's just, I'm not going to like that. Poor everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
And then the Al-Anon alcoholic dynamic plays out in full force as Garcelle apologizes to Sutton. And then Sutton is adorable, giggling, our first fight, totally disarming Garcelle and making this just go away. And
Garcelle says, yeah, our first fight here.
right.
Don't rewrite history, ma'am.
And there's
Anyway.
a little bit more talk about Morgan being off the table as a conversation piece. And basically it boils down to Garcelle felt like Sutton wasn't listening and backing her up. And that is what hurt. It's not about Morgan, basically. It's deeper than that. And Garcelle, in her confessional, says she wanted a deeper relationship with Kyle this year, but can't get there because if you're not allowed to talk about a huge part of her life, and Kyle is clearly not at ease when she's questioned about Morgan. So it's not like it's nothing. It's definitely something. And I'm with Garcelle. How do you why would I open up completely to you if you're going to keep a huge piece of yourself closed off to me, but it's a piece of yourself that the press has access to? It's just
Right.
what is this? What are
Right.
the rules to being
It's not
your
a
friend?
real
It seems
friendship.
insane. Yeah.
It's not a real friendship. A real friendship, in my opinion, the kinds I like, the kinds I prefer, the kinds that I have, there is an amount of vulnerability and intimacy there facilitated by that vulnerability, facilitated by being honest. When it's been a friendship that you've had for a while and there's trust and mutual respect, that's when you delve into the stuff. You know all of my deepest, darkest. We
what?
couldn't have this podcast, we couldn't have this friendship the way we have it if I couldn't share that with you. But I wouldn't dream of it. But this is where Kyle has put Garcelle. She's made it clear to Garcelle, no, we're not going to be friends because I am not willing to be honest with you about my life. And Sutton says we need to respect Kyle's wishes and move on. Anyway.
Then they lightly rehash this Mauricio on a date at Soho House news. And then we go to everyone taking swimsuit shots and thirst trap photos. And then they try to coach Sutton to do a thirst trap face. And she just kind of looks like a corpse. It was kind of funny. And then they do their Avengers walk down the beach. And then they take a bunch of wood bridges to the boat. And this is where Erica asks Sutton what she weighs. And I lost my mind. And yeah.
When they're leaving to get on the sprinter to go to the boat dock, Kyle says in a confessional, she says, Kyle feels awkward with Garcelle today, but today she's going to enjoy herself on the beach because just like her marriage to Mauricio, She doesn't talk about uncomfortable things.
Yeah, I mean, that's what her therapist said. That was such a telling moment when that therapist was like, "That you can whine all you want, Kyle, but this is the problem, the root
Yep,
problem of your whole marriage. You never
that's
talked about any serious issues."
that's the
And
convo I'm
so she
referring
has,
to.
yeah, she has no toolkit to do that and has no curiosity to build one. And so today she says, I choose peace. Okay.
She doesn't choose peace because the woman has no inner peace
She
because
chooses
she can't.
avoidance.
Yes, that's what she chooses.
Yeah.
She chooses being in denial. Ay, ay, ay. So they're finally on the boat, and this was like one of my favorite parts of the fucking episode when Kyle's like, oh, Jennifer, I love your earrings. And Bose asks, oh, where do you find those? And Jennifer says, oh, they're Dolce & Gabbana, but they're Alta Moda, so you can't get them at the boutique. They're one-offs. And that is why I love her on this show.
And I
Anyway.
extra loved her on the other side of that for going like, oh, that makes me sound like a real pretentious asshole, you know? And they're like, no, it just makes you sound rich. And she was like, all right.
And then they
Oh,
go
sorry,
inside to eat, and Kathy Hilton asks everyone for her food and accoutrement, and I just fucking can't stand her. I can't stand her. The ship has sailed, editors. The ship has sailed, unless there's other people that still find her charming and hilarious, like they do Dorinda after she made the fucked up Tinsley turkey baster comment that made her irredeemable, in my opinion, in perpetuity, until she really gets it together on that one. Everyone's just clamoring for Dorinda to come back on TV. I think she sucks. I think she's mean. I think she's meaner than Sutton. But I think we all know that Dorinda's probably got the alcoholic thing going on too. So similar birds of a feather.
her
Anyhoot.
speeches when she was like, yeah,
Oh my
I mean,
God.
like she just, oh
Yeah.
man.
And remind me to talk about the Traders reunion and Dorinda when we get to what
Oh
we
my
watched on TV.
gosh, how
Remind me.
embarrassing.
Yes. I don't need to go off on the tangent right now, but just so I don't forget, I'm going to write myself a note. Dorinda, Traders.
Then we have Dorit praising Kyle's body, and they briefly talk about Kim, and Kyle says that she doesn't see her much, but she's doing good. And then Sutton, while Dorit is not at the table, says to everyone else that she meant her apology to Dorit at the table last night, and she wants all these women to know that. And she said it was a bad thing I said and not like me to say things like that. And then she starts crying, I guess. And it just was weird that to go into all of this with Dorit not present, because it does seem to pay off exactly what Dorit said in her confessional, that Sutton only cares what she looks like to the other women, because the only person she should be apologizing to and making sure they understand how sincere she was is not there.
What I took was that she was so afraid that these women didn't believe that her apology was coming from a genuine place that that's why she was saying it. Not that she was trying to avoid saying it to Dorit, but she was like trying to say, and I'm projecting, guys, I really want you to know that last night I was coming from a legitimate, genuine place.
But why do those women need to know that?
I think
Shouldn't
because
it
she
be
wants their
Dorit?
approval. Because she can probably feel their judgment of her like seeping, like vibrating off of them, especially Erica's.
Yeah, then I guess it's just misguided, because the only way to actually see that through would be to convince the person you claim you care that they
Yeah.
understand your apology.
Yeah.
Because that felt real performative to me.
Okay.
Because she didn't,
Again,
it's not
I'm
like she went to
projecting, dude.
Dorit first and was like, I just want to be sure that you understand that last night I meant what I said.
Yeah.
And if Dorit had flown off the handle, then she could come back to the woman and be like, I'm trying to reach her and I can't get through. Can you guys please, do you see that I'm being sincere? But no, Dorit scurried away, and Sutton took the opportunity to tell everyone, I hope you know that idiot didn't get it, but I hope you guys know you saw that I was sincere, right? I was like, ick, yucky. But then, villains on villains on villains. Erica confronts Sutton. And I think she's right, saying that Sutton is critical and not the most compassionate to women going through the worst time in their lives. Erica says, I felt it with myself and Kyle's marriage dissolving last year, and this year it's Dorit. And she says, you present as a friend and then act as an enemy. And this is where Erica says, if Sutton was sincere about the apology last night, she wouldn't have to bring it up and sell it to us one more time. And that felt true. Okay. And then Sutton reacts to the wrong line item here in order to divert attention from the real problem. To say that I mistreat women at this point in time, like in this climate in America, to say that I mistreat women is a very, very strong statement. When Erica had said you mistreat the women and then listed herself, Kyle, and Dorit. So there was no question that this was not a universal damnation. Sutton doesn't reach most women. It's the women in this group. But she, as she did by pulling out the word joke from when Dorit tried to make it, she just is focusing on semantics and trying to like die on that hill. And this is where I appreciated what Erica said. So Sutton says, to say that I mistreat women at this point is a very strong statement. And Erica said, well, it's a true statement for me. And that is what I have observed for the last few years. And one of the first things I ever learned in therapy was the sequence of statements: I observe, I imagine, I feel. So when I was to address someone, I would say to them, I observe this behavior. I imagine it's coming from this place. I feel this way about it. And I appreciated Erica for being pretty objective, simply by claiming it as her own. Not saying this is a true statement for everyone. This is a true statement for me. This is a pattern that I have observed. You do with that what you will.
I hear what you're saying. I'm just annoyed, pissed. Again, not buying what Erica is trying to sell. Yeah, fair. She was at the lowest point of her life, but I believe that the treatment she got from all of her castmates that season was warranted. She was not going to budge an inch on her culpability in all of the shit that brought her house down.
I agree, but I also do think Sutton does a thing, and they showed it. Sutton showed up at that spa with a divorce package of gifts for Erica, and then a couple days later is jumping down her throat about the LA Times. I'm not saying Erica's right. I'm just saying it is that dynamic that would fuck me up too. When I'm at my most vulnerable and someone comes to me and picks me up and holds me together with their arms and then unceremoniously drops me and kicks me, that's fucked up. Even if I had a hand in putting myself in shambles, to be the person who's like, I got you, I've been there, I got you. And then to be like, actually, let me just,
But did she, I don't remember the sequence of events. Did she give her the spa care package before the LA Times article comes out? Does it matter?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm inclined to say it doesn't matter. To me, it's exactly what Erica's saying. It's like, what is it? Just decide. Either be my friend and stand by that and treat me kindly when you have questions to ask me if I've done something that disturbs the force, or see me as an enemy. I get it. The rest of the world does too. But don't fucking, when I'm in a pile on the ground, don't you be the one to pick me up, then knee me in the crotch. It's like, what is it?
You're right.
Because when you're that broken, you don't have the energy to like do the discernment of like, is this sincere? You just need someone to pick you up off the fucking ground. And Sutton seems to always be there when women are in that moment, picks them up off the ground and then humiliates them on camera. And I don't like that. I think that's intentional and I hope it's working for her.
I agree with you. No, you're laying out a great case. You are a lawyer's daughter.
Right.
No, I understand. Your evidence has much more weight than mine. I'm losing this case. The jury is going to go with you.
But again, it's like,
but there's no winners.
It's a no-win case.
Right.
I'm like, I want to resign from being anyone's attorney in this fight.
Right.
But it just,
oh God.
Erica is an asshole. And also Erica's right to point out this pattern. It has now happened 3 seasons in a row.
I know.
That's a lot.
I know. Again, I don't like the fact that it's not clean. Yeah. I don't like that it's coming from a place of Erica's residual resentment at Sutton and not just like, hey, listen, that is what I don't like. That is what makes me not respect Erica or buy what she's saying to Sutton. Again, it's just that the ulterior motives are just like coming from her pores.
They are. You're right. Because the last thing she said in the last episode was like, what about what you all did to me?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, Erica.
Yes, exactly.
What about what you did to the people that put you in the position to have people do things what they did to you? It's just like, all right, guys, full hips all over. But I did appreciate Erica kind of holding Sutton's feet to the fire and saying like, you've been hard on Dorit. And Sutton goes, well, Dorit's been hard on me. And then Erica tries again, saying, like, you've been kicking her while she's down. And Sutton says, I've apologized and I meant it. I'm not going to be called a terrible person when you know I'm not. And this Erica just says, okay, you can feel that way. I'm just telling you what I've observed. And I was like, holy shit. Dr. Jen is doing some rewiring of this woman's, at least the way she's expressing herself. It's different.
We see that rolled tape of Erica being a bitch to Sutton.
But that was before therapy. I'm just saying something is changing in her because it's saying to Sutton, you can feel that way. I'm just telling you what I've observed is different than, or what? Or what? That's who she was a couple years ago. This is pretty, like, in terms of just being a proponent for therapy, I'm looking at Erica Jane and people are saying, like, she's boring this season. And I'm like, yeah, because she's getting her shit together and she's able to express herself in a way that isn't just creating damage in her wake. So
I'm very disappointed in myself.
Why?
I'm very disappointed in myself that everything you're saying is absolutely right, but I refuse to let go of her past wrongs.
You're right. You are right to. Those earrings should not be in her possession. Her talking about congratulating Sutton on being 110 pounds. She's a monster and a nightmare. I'm just saying that Dr. Jen has worked a little bit of therapy magic on a monster and a nightmare. So she's causing slightly less, like she still is taking an absolute steamroller through her life, but she's not also lighting it on fire. So she's still a monster and I want her nowhere near me, but at least she stopped burning things in addition to mowing them down. Now she's just mowing them down.
I know, but clean up the shit that is in your wake.
If only.
I know, dude.
Right.
See, it's like I'll get a little bit of compassion, and then I think about Marco, and I'm like, oh, fuck her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Again, I've got that cosmic scoreboard that I cannot let go of. And so it just outshines all of the stuff that
it's fair. It's
maybe
fair.
she is doing with Dr. Jen.
No, that's why I really mean I'm like taking it one vignette at a time because
I get it, Margie.
The bigger picture is atrocious and an unsolvable puzzle. Like the ninth step work this woman would have to do to make amends, not just apologize, but make amends for putting innocent people in jail and taking money from widows so that she can pat the puss in clubs around the country. But again, I've said this about some of the addicts close to me in my life, like it's a survival mechanism. I think if they actually sat still and faced what they'd done, they would die. I don't think they have the constitution to survive taking responsibility for what they've done. It's so dire. And so this is all we get to applaud her for saying, I notice a pattern. That's the best we can get.
Oh, God. Thank God it's not me. Thank God it's not me.
Yeah.
So then we have the lame tete-a-tete between Sutton and Erica, like about women versus women in this group. You made the comment, you said women. You said all women. I meant the women in this group. Well, you didn't say that. Who gives a shit? Who gives a fuck? In Garcelle's confessional, she's like, dude, there were so many opportunities for Kyle to step in right now for her friend, in quotation marks, Sutton, and stand up for her, but she's not doing it. And I've seen this behavior, and I've seen it for years, of Kyle just like not giving a shit about showing up for Sutton. So Sutton asks the group, what do you want from me? I'm tired of it. All you guys do is talk about what I do wrong. I'm not going to defend myself over and over. I've apologized to both of you. Pick on somebody else. And then Dorit says, but you pick on other people. And Sutton says, well, you henpecked me. And Dorit says, again, she's saying other people are passive aggressive, and here she comes with, Sutton, you need to speak English. I don't understand. I don't understand what you're saying.
That was a weird detour.
It was so
Why the fuck
stupid,
would she say that?
Right? So Sutton responds in kind, like, oh, well, I'm going to make fun of your accent. And Dorit asks Sutton, do you want to move forward? And at that point, all I did was realize how ridiculous Dorit's hat is. And in Dorit's confessional, which again annoys the shit out of me because she's wearing a wannabe like quasi-Madonna outfit, just like reeking of Chanel logos. again, this is an example of the outfit wearing her. She's not wearing the outfit. I don't even remember what she said in her confessional because I was so annoyed by her physicality.
When Sutton takes on the English accent, I mean, there again, it's just like
No
villains on
winners.
villains. It's
No
just
winners.
like, oh my God, you
Yes.
guys are all embarrassing. Everybody go to timeout. But Sutton does say, I can only take so much. And Dorit says, same. And I was like, can we just agree that you guys should not be friends and probably both of you should leave this cast or one of you
Right.
should because this is just stupid. And Dorit said, you've apologized for Caviar Caspia. And Sutton goes, and that's all I want to apologize for. Then in Dorit's confessional, she says for the first time, Sutton's words and actions finally match, where she's just, and Sutton says, I want to be on ice with you, Dorit. And Beau's notes, is getting her first glimpse of an alcoholic in her cups. She says, whoa, this is a new side of Sutton. She's lashing out and angry. And I don't like this. And I'm like, yeah, well,
Yeah.
welcome to,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
illness. And then Sutton, again, just so dramatic. This is not going to be Sutton on trial at sea.
Oh my God, dude.
And then we get Garcelle saying she doesn't like to see everyone piling up on Sutton, but Sutton has burned Garcelle's goodwill, and Garcelle is not going to burn any more energy defending Sutton, especially because in this case, she's not clearly in the right by any means. So it's just, you can't jump to your feet to defend her here. So Garcelle is, it's a sad moment. I'm sure you've probably had it too with the people in your life when you're like, oh, I'm just gonna stop. And what's fucked up is they probably won't really notice or care.
Yeah.
Because she only is looking out at what Kyle's doing. Anyways.
Oh, God.
Then Kyle and Erica have confessionals. Sutton starts an issue and runs off as a victim, is what Kyle says. And Erica says Sutton was triggered because it's true. And then we see Sutton going to take some breaths and cussing out these women. These fucking bitches. They're fucking cunts. I hate these fucking bitches. Whoa.
Dude. Of all the people, though, to say that, Sutton loves to start a big issue, then walk away, Kyle, pick up the fucking mirror, dude. You're about to walk away. You are about to walk away any episode now. You're going to take a page out of Tamra Judge's book, and you're going to walk away. You're going to start a big issue that you say isn't a big issue that you don't want to talk about on camera this season, and you're going to walk away.
Yeah, but she's also right about Sutton. Like, that's the problem in this episode where I was just like, Sutton did do that. She started this apology behind Dorit's back to say, I hope you guys believe me. Then this whole thing, she opens a conversation that then erupts into this storm off moment. But then Kyle, who was in a robe on somewhere in Larchmont on a street, is in no position to be the one to say, like, she made a scene. It's like, oh my God.
Oh my God, dude.
You all are ridiculous. And I couldn't take it. Couldn't take it.
Honestly.
Ay, ay, ay.
Friend, what else did you watch?
This week I watched Summer House, which I'm really enjoying. And I watched Southern Charm, which was really interesting. There was a moment between Craig and Austin, who've been going through a difficult spell in their friendship as Craig experiments with sobriety. And he basically, in this episode, it's weird because he's drunk, but he confesses to Austin, like, I was an addict. And Paige is the one who saved me from myself. And that's why I stay at home, because that's the safest place for me to live a life that's not going to destroy my relationship. And it was sweet, and they hugged and whatever. But it was also weird because they were both wasted. So I don't know what to make of that. And I think that's all I watched this week. Yeah, I haven't started Atlanta. Like, I'm behind on everything. I'm so ashamed to say, but I will make my way back to. I know, one of those days just sneaks up on you where you like kind of have nothing to do, and then you're like, I'll watch an hour of TV, and like 7 hours later, I'll be caught up on everything. But I just haven't had one of those days yet. So, what about you? What did you watch?
Let's see. White Lotus, Yellow Jackets, Righteous Gemstones is back. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so happy to be back with those hilarious psychopaths. Finally slogged through like the last 3 or 4 episodes of The Traitors, and the reunion. Like, Dorinda is just I'm embarrassed for her. I'm humiliated for her. She is so out of touch with reality. Just trying to like fight with Bob the drag queen, like, abandon hope, ye all who enter here. You can't, like,
And I
and
loved him because he just wasn't even having it. He didn't even
yeah,
fight her. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care
yeah,
if you don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. And
yeah.
why are you
And
getting all up in our,
and
like,
she
it's
was
irrelevant.
shocked
I
about
know.
it.
I loved it.
She still thinks she's on pause and she wasn't fired. Like that is the energy that she's giving. Like,
Well, they gave her a whole new show, Bluestone Manor or something.
God damn it.
Yep.
I loathe that woman. I loathe her. I think she is she's just fucking alcoholic. And then what I'm rewatching did you ever watch that series Love on Netflix? It came out like years ago with what is her name? The actress that was on Community, Gillian. What is her last name?
Jillian
Yeah.
Jacobs? Yeah.
Yes. I've already watched it, but I've forgotten most of what happens, like the details at least. I really like that show. Plus, a lot of it takes place on the East Side. And so I see lots and
Oh.
lots of B-roll of my old haunts and my streets. And it's a character. It's another character on the show. And I always appreciate that. So, yeah, that's what I watched. Friend, what was your antidepressant this week?
My antidepressant this week was I took a dance class last night, but I went because a friend of mine invited me, a friend who I haven't seen in like a really long time. And it was so fun to see her. And after the class, we just like sat in her car and chatted for like an hour. And it was just so lovely. Like there's something like, so this is one of those classes where they have like a live DJ. So the music is just like blasting. It was
Oh,
like sweaty and
yeah.
fun. And then to get like some quality time after, it's dance and music that loud does something to just sort of like break open all of my defenses. So we were able to cover in an hour what normally would have taken like 4 because we were just like, we're like
Yeah.
completely open, and it was wonderful. And yeah, my friend Jess, I adore her. She's great. And I'm so glad I got to see her. It had been too long. So dance and music and friends.
They
Um,
give like the healthy hits of dopamine, or it's the
yeah.
healthy delivery of dopamine,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
How about you?
Josh and I had a really lovely date on Saturday night. It was really nice. It had been way too long. And then writing class this morning, to be honest. Yeah,
It's great.
it was great. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel a lot less irritable after you and I have sat down discussing this episode than I did before we sat down. So I'm very grateful for that too.
Me too.
It,
This was like an exorcism. I was like,
right?
I was so agitated just watching them fight and
Yes.
talk in circles and
Same.
blame each other. And I was just like, you
Same.
guys,
I know.
don't do that in St. Lucia.
Dude. Yeah. And it's a good reminder that moods pass. Anyway, on that note, let's close this episode out, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's all of us just take a deep breath and walk away from this St. Lucia trip from hell. What does Jennifer say? Next week on the boat trip from hell, something. Oh, my. Margie, I love you. I'm really glad we got to chat. Everyone, if you happen to be on your preferred podcast platform of choice, we would really appreciate a 5-star rating and maybe a few kind words if you have a minute. You can find us on Instagram at A Therapeutic Dose. You can email us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. I don't remember what our blue sky is. What the fuck is new? Take care of yourselves. I'm speaking from experience right now that moods will pass. Invite those house guests in, regardless of how much you don't want them. They're there to show you something.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll post a link to that poem that
Yeah.
we're referring to by Rumi called The House Guests.
Pretty great.
Ooh. It's perfect. I love you, friend.
I love you too. Everybody take good care of yourselves, and we'll talk next week.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.